They were basically saying that it was like, yeah, you know, fans of Might and Magic, you know, were disappointed because it wasn't a Might and Magic game, like, mechanically. But, you know, people who would have been fans of the game didn't even give it a chance because it was titled Might and Magic.
I see.
So, yeah.
So it didn't sell. I can tell it didn't sell well. That makes sense. Okay.
Anyways.
Okay.
Connor, there's a lot of just great fucking video games out.
I know.
This was quietly has so far been an amazing year for video games, and I'm excited for the last stretch of it here because we still got a lot of great things. We got Kena coming this week. We got Death Stranding Director's Cut, which I was planning on playing, but I don't have time for anymore, so I guess I'm gonna skip that one.
And drive some race cars.
Right?
Isn't that one of the things
that's
doing?
the thing? No, there's
racing.
There's racing now. I think you race against a ghost. It's not like
it's not
ghost
the players.
cards. Yeah, I don't think. Well, like ghosts of other players. You know what I mean? It's not like you're not right next to them. You're like time trialing shit.
Okay.
I think I could be wrong. I don't remember. And then what's after that? I mean, we got things like Metroid Dread, Mario Party. The shooter season is upon us with Far Cry and Battlefield, even though Battlefield got delayed for a couple of weeks or whatever. There's just a lot of games still to come that we're still very excited for. And I've still got to double back and play Psychonauts 2. I've still got to double back and play Boyfriend Dungeon.
You haven't beaten Psychonauts 1,
I gotta go. No, I'm gonna have to just skip it and just be like, all right.
Oh, really?
Because I gotta get to these games, Connor. I can't be living in the past.
It sounds like I get that.
Let
like
the past
Psychonauts
die.
2 without playing 1 seems kind of.
People keep saying you don't need it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's one of those games.
Yeah. I think they understood that like the first game didn't like do crazy numbers, but it was beloved, so they were like, "Hey, let's craft this game," and this one's getting bigger funding and marketing because it's a Xbox exclusive game or whatever. So they were like, fuck it, just we'll just create a cool story and with cool visuals and shit.
That's probably the way to go, actually.
Probably. I'm trying to think of what else is coming down the pipeline here that I'm excited for. I mean, I've still got to go back. I got to get to Death's Door, man. I played like 2 hours of Death's Door and then stopped to fucking hit a nostalgia kick on Phantom Pain, and I just haven't had time to go back now.
And you've abandoned that, I hope.
Death's Door? Phantom Pain? Oh yeah, Phantom Pain's done. I'm done with Phantom Pain.
You just got bored of it quickly, or
I got more important things to do now.
Yeah,
it's too many. It's hit the fan, and I'm like, all right, we can't do this anymore. Avengers: War for Wakanda, that one's gone too. I played that one for a couple of hours, and I was like, cool, this is fun, this is a good time, worth playing. I'm out. I don't have time for this.
So are you of the belief that that game still doesn't have a future now that you played it?
Avengers?
Yeah. Because you liked it, but then you got disinterested in it like you did now. So,
dude, it's hard, man. Because like, I'm not the type of guy who can come in and do dailies all the time. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not that guy. Like, I need different experiences. Like, even though I go back and replay a bunch of video games all the time, the reason I do that is because I can't have one game all the time. You know, I can't have like a mainstay game like. Even though I'm in love with Splitgate this year, and Splitgate is probably the game that I will have put the most hours into this year, eventually I'm going to burn out on Splitgate, and I'm going to not want to play it anymore. I was this way last year with Valorant. I don't want to play Valorant for a long time, if ever again, because I played 100 hours of it, and I'm kind of burnt out, and I'm done. I'm more open to going back to Valorant than, like, say, an Overwatch. But, I'm cool, I've had that experience, and there's nothing new to be gained from that experience, and there's nothing to with multiplayer games, to me at least, in my opinion, going back to them, it's like, as opposed to like a single player narrative thing, like I can relive a story, I can and I can have some emotional connection. Maybe I can find something new to pull subtextually from a game that I've already played that I didn't pull the first time.
Definitely not like our buddies who can just play multiplayer games day
yeah,
in, day
and that's just what they do. And cool for them. If that works for them, more power to you. It just doesn't work for me. I like multiplayer. I'll play a fuck ton of multiplayer, but I have to cycle things out because I get bored. Like, I've put my God of War replay on pause because
I forgot you
because one, I'm just too busy, and two, on the replay, a lot of that combat feels kind of samey. So it's just kind of like, okay, I'm enjoying the cutscenes part of these games again, and I'm getting a lot out of them this time, especially with renewed context of God of War 3. But, it just got to a point where I was just like, all right, I need something else. Like, I need mechanically something to... The mechanics of a game only take me so far. Like, they're very important to me, but I get tired of it because I see the loop, and I see the design, and at some point I just get... And at first it's like, oh, okay, that's cool. I like this. This is entertaining. But eventually that design and that loop gets old to me, and I need a different loop.
Subsequent playthroughs don't hold up if gameplay's the main driving force. It has to be story for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Thankfully I'm not. I guess I'm not as intelligent as you. I can turn my brain off. And have fun with the combat.
That's not what I was saying at
I
all. I almost wish I could just have one game that I could just be like, man, this is my game, and this is what I go and I play. I wish I could do that.
Oh, Metal Gear Solid 3. You have that. You have that game.
Okay, but I'm not gonna go play it now.
No, that's a lie.
Well, that's a lie.
Yeah.
I've been itching to play Metal Gear Solid 3 again.
Of course, I know.
But,
you always are.
like, I'll play it, and then I'll put it away for a year. You know?
I also know that's not true at all. How many times have you played it this year? You played it once, and you played it a second time.
No, I don't think so. No, we played it for hype, and I don't even think I played it this year.
Oh, yeah,
I think I played it last year for the Platinum, and I don't think I've played it since. I could be wrong. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. We're gonna get to this fucking show eventually, but first, now Connor has challenged me.
Do you have a plate?
So now I gotta go.
Do
I have a bookmark for PlayStation Network trophies? What is this fucking PSNprofiles.com? Yes, I do. Is it tied to my account? Yes, it is. So hold on, let me scroll. Let me get to scrolling here.
He has ease of access to all of his trophies.
Connor, you're back. First of all, let's talk about that.
I'm back. I am back.
You're back. Welcome back.
All my parents are fine. They no longer have COVID.
Fantastic.
I don't have COVID. I can't give COVID anymore.
Lovely.
So now I can finally leave the house for the first time.
September 27th, 2020, almost an exact year ago, I got the Snake Eater Platinum.
Okay.
That was the last time I touched that game.
I'll what's the word?
You'll allow it.
I'll resign.
There we go. Now, Connor, ask me if I played Metal Gear Solid 2 last year.
Yeah, that's different.
Anyways, let's drop some sense on him. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Two Penny Gamescast, episode 61. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host, Connor Elliott. Say hello to the people, Connor.
Howdy.
Excuse me. If you didn't know, this show comes to you every week, Monday, 8 a.m., youtube.com/2pennygamescast, or mainstream podcast services of your choice, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast. Please, drop a like, drop a follow, drop a subscribe, a comment, if you will, a review. Drop some 5 stars on us, man. Help us out. Share us with your friends. Help us out. Help us beat the algorithms.
That'd be nice.
Or at least let us get on the algorithms' radars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're not there.
We're not there.
Not by a long shot.
Anyways, this show, me and Connor come to you every week with 2 topics surrounding the video game news. Two topics each, that is, for a total of 4. And we call those our 2 pennies, if you will. And we give you our 2 cents on them. But if you want to watch us play video games live, you can do that over at twitch.tv/2pennygames. I've been playing a lot of Deathloop.
You beat Deathloop.
I beat Deathloop. We're going to give a full review for that here at the end of the show with the What We've Been Playing segment. It's going to be our main topic in What We've Been Playing, and I'm sure I'm going to just nerd the fuck out because Deathloop, spoilers, great game. And every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Central Time, we do a show called Hype. Me and my buddy Phil, HYEP, Hype. Have you ever played? In which one of us shows the other one a video game that they've never played before. Currently, we are each working our way through Jak 2. My first time playing Jak 2, and Phil's first time playing Uncharted 3: Drake's Deception. We're doing a little bit of a Naughty Dog month. You know, we did the Crash, we did the Uncharted 2, we did the Jak 1, we're doing the Jak 2, we did the Uncharted 2. Uncharted 2 after the Hype review, where you can get Phil's first time feelings and opinions about Uncharted 2 in 2021. That is live right now over at youtube.com/2pennygamescast. Usually, we attach it to the end of a 2penny Gamescast episode, but due to scheduling errors, we couldn't quite get that to work this last week. What are you doing with this chair?
It was, for some reason, low, and then I had to get it right.
Oh, okay.
But I finally got it right.
It was too high, then it was too low, then it was too high. Okay, exactly. I see what you're doing. Anyways, Connor, let's get right to it. Here we go. Excuse me. Activision Blizzard back in the news again today.
And for reasons you might not think.
Well,
it's not surprising, but it's not the same kind of stuff we've been dealing with recently with all the sexual assault and harassment allegations.
Exactly. So, pulling an article from The Verge by Ash Parrish, Activision Blizzard sued again, this time for labor violations. The campaign to organize digital employees, known as Code-CWA, has filed a lawsuit against Activision Blizzard for unfair labor practices. As first reported by Protocol, this new suit filed with the National Labor Relations Board alleges Activision Blizzard engages in intimidation and coercive tactics as employees fought to openly discuss pay discrepancy and their desire to end forced arbitration. Code-CWA, a digital workers' right and labor organization, filed the suit on behalf of A Better ABK, a group of Activision Blizzard employees working towards improving working conditions at what is one of the largest video game publishers in the U.S. And then they do a quick recap of their sexual harassment lawsuit by the state of California, their staged walkouts, etc., etc., etc. A Better ABK released a list of demands that asks for, among other things, quote, an end to mandatory arbitration clauses in all employee contracts, current and future, end quote. This newest suit, filed on September 10th, accuses Activision Blizzard of engaging in coercive behavior disruptive to A Better ABK's attempts to effect change. Quote, if the new NLRB rules in our favor, the ruling will be retroactive and we will set a precedent that no worker in the U.S. can be intimidated out of talking about forced arbitration, a Better ABK spokesperson writes on Twitter. So, Connor, just another step forward towards progress here with cleaning up this Activision Blizzard, hopefully cleaning up this Activision Blizzard. Whereas I think they have a good shot with their sexual harassment lawsuit with the state of California, at least for actual progress in ending that shit. I feel less confident in this one specifically because the lovely states of America love their capitalism.
Yeah.
And
arbitration is just a bad thing. It's not. I don't think anything that's ever been taken to arbitration ends up in a worker's favor. You know, it's always in. They always rule in favor of the company because they don't actually have a jury decide who's guilty and who's innocent. So it's usually up to people we never know anything about.
Granted, they might have momentum off of the California state lawsuit in which they might actually be able to gain a win here. How much of a win that is, I don't know. I couldn't even begin to tell you what that is. But things like keeping pay rates secrets and stuff. This is all like and coercing you to work harder for extra hours of unpaid whatever. Like these are all tactics that they use against the workers to one, keep them low, two, get free labor out of them and stuff, and to make it to where people fail to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that things don't have to be this way. We can live in a society where pay rates are openly discussed, and we can work better for everyone, except for the billionaires that own us, the dozen billionaires who own us all. Okay, they lose a couple $100 million. Who the fuck cares? Give me a livable wage. Type stuff.
The loss they feel, as much as they might complain or fight against it, is minuscule compared to the benefits that will come from workers' rights. Getting better wages, not being forced to work certain hours, because we know this happens in a lot of industries in America specifically. The video game industry is no different. That even if they don't force you to work many hours, they coerce you to. They make you seem like a worse worker because everyone else around you is working a lot, and you're just you're messing
lazy.
Up everybody else.
You're not willing to put in the extra effort. You're not passionate enough. All of these are lies.
Yeah,
they're all lies. I always think of it like what is the saying? Rising tide raises all ships.
I've never heard of that.
You haven't heard this before? No, it is a very common saying. And the opposition always argues you're punishing people for being successful, you're punishing people for getting rich. And my argument would be, no, a rising tide raises all ships. Are we punishing people for being rich? No, we're raising all ships is what we're doing.
I see.
If we as a company are succeeding, I as the worker need to see that success as well. That's why I want to stay with this company. That's why I want to work with this company. It shouldn't be, collected and strangleholded by the few individuals at the top. We should all be able to rise, together with that.
Right. With regulation is usually the answer for this, but Unfortunately, that's not always going to be the case.
No.
So the fact that they're joining together as groups, Blizzard employees, to try and fight for that kind of stuff is one of the best ways you're going to accomplish that. Really, like we said, it just depends on, what's the ruling going to be? How is this lawsuit going to go? So hopefully we hear more from this on in a positive light going forward.
I'll say this specific part of the story I don't think is going to have the happiest of endings here. But I could see a future where these Activision Blizzard workers say, all right, enough's enough, because you've shut down our studios, you've shut down our passion projects, you're having us work on fucking Warzone and Overwatch and what's another popular Blizzard game? Skins and so forth to support these live service games, all this stuff. We're burnt out, we're tired, we don't like working this. Fuck you. Mass quit, let's go make our own studio with, 100 employees, and just,
do our own thing.
Do things that we actually care about.
You do hear a lot more smaller studios opening up nowadays from people that have been in the industry, so I'm not very knowledgeable about if that is the reason why new studios are starting, or if it's just people gaining enough of a foothold in the industry.
There's a number of reasons you could go. The triple. You see a lot of like AAA heads like go off and form intentionally smaller studios so that they can, work, a little more freely and not have so much to juggle on one plate, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
If directors in Hollywood can do it, and that happens to them, people in the video game industry should be able to do it as well.
Change is coming, and I'm excited to see what it brings. Anyways, that was your first penny. I forgot to mention at the top. Let's move on to my first penny, second topic of the day. Connor, is God of War Ragnarok the last God of War game we're going to fucking see?
In Norse mythology, definitely.
In Norse mythology, definitely.
Yeah.
So, pulling an article from IGN by Jared Moore, God of War director explains why there will only be 2 games in the Norse saga. Sony Santa Monica Studios' Cory Barlog, director of 2018's God of War, has opened up on why there will only be 2 games in the series' Norse mythology saga, stating that he wanted to avoid delaying the story's conclusion to a decade after it started. In an interview with Captain Kuba on YouTube, Barlog spoke about why he decided that the story of Kratos and Atreus would be told over just 2 games, rather than a trilogy or anything longer. Quote, I think one of the most important reasons is the first game took 5 years. The second game, I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm just going to throw out that it's going to take close to a similar time, said Barlog. Quote, then if you think a third one in that same time frame, we're talking a span of close to 15 years over a single story, and I feel like that's just too stretched out. I feel like we're asking too much to say the actual completion of that story taking that long. It just feels too long. Given where the team was at and where Eric was at with what he wanted to do, I was like, look, I think we can actually do this in the second story, because most of what we were trying to do from the beginning was to tell something about Kratos and Atreus, that the core of the story's engine is really the relationship between these 2 characters. End quote. With one storyline being told throughout 2 games, Barlog likens the idea of fans being able to play through the series to his own experience of purchasing the Lord of the Rings box set for the first time. Quote, I was able to say, wow, I can sit down and have 13 and a half hours of this experience, playing them one after another back to back. And I just thought that was fantastic and amazing. So to be able to say, hey man, you could probably start God of War 2018 and then play God of War Ragnarok and feel like you're getting the entirety of the story, I kind of want that to happen before my kid is in college. End quote. With a number of modern day films and games slated for overstaying their welcome or dragging out storylines far beyond a point that's necessary, many may feel that Barlog's comments about God of War offer a refreshing stance for a series so well received by fans. God of War Ragnarok will conclude Kratos and Atreus' story when it releases in 2022. For more on God of War, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, Connor, so that's it. God of War Ragnarok. That'll be it for our Norse leg of Kratos' story here. Maybe the story between Kratos and Atreus here. First of all, how do you feel about this?
I'm actually pretty happy about this.
Yeah?
I'm so used to there being, when a game series comes out, if there's going to be subsequent sequels, of there being a trilogy. That's usually the bread and butter people go for, usually.
People like their trilogies.
People do like their trilogies. So the fact that they feel that it's necessary to just be able to wrap it up in the second game makes me pretty confident. I don't really think there's many examples in when it comes to movies or video games or anything like that where something having only 2 entries into a franchise makes a problem somewhere.
Yeah.
As long as they have the story mapped out, they know what they want to do, specifically, especially with Kratos and Atreus, because obviously they're the big attractions of God of War. I think they can pull it off. So I don't have any worries about it. And I'm actually pretty relieved because, as he said, I would rather not wait 15 years for one whole storyline to get wrapped up. Because, I'm already waiting for a bunch of other storylines to have a continuation, like Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yeah. So it's good that another one of my favorite games isn't going to have that same problem. I'm not going to have to continuously wait every single year for some kind of, new release for the continuation of a saga. You kind of laughed there.
I'm with you. Tell your story. If your story is done by the second game, then it's done by the second game, and that's it. I think this is a great stance to have for storytelling in general. How many times does a singular movie pop off and then sequels get released? And, are those sequels ever as good as the first one? I just rewatched the Matrix trilogy last week.
Wow, that's a choice to choose.
Dude, let me tell you what, man. That first movie is still phenomenal. 2 and 3, you can keep that, bruh. You can keep that. Now, I'm personally excited for this 4th one, but that's beside the point. God of War, or I'm sorry, The Godfather.
That was the other
another example where we did 1, we did 2. 2 people still really love and is a beloved film as well. But then 3 is just universally, man, this is a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
Poltergeist. The examples just continue for eons. Star Wars. It just keeps going. There are dozens and dozens of examples of this. And you even see it in video games, but you don't see it as much because this is a younger industry. And storytelling has only been in the forefront of this industry for a shorter period of time. But, it happens all the time. Devil May Cry has its ups and downs. Final Fantasy has its ups and downs, even though Final Fantasy isn't one continuous story.
Yeah, wait, that's an exception.
That's an exception. But, you bring up Final Fantasy VII Remake. I agree. I don't think 7 Remake should be taking this long to get that story. Wherever that story goes. I shouldn't have to be waiting this long for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
And I hope this is something that our big AAA guys with big successful IPs take note of. We don't need your franchise to continue and to evolve and have 7 iterations of forever. If I never get another Uncharted game for the rest of my life, fucking great. Because those 4 games, 5 games if you include Lost Legacy, 6 if you include Golden Abyss, I love those games. But I'm cool. I don't need any more from those games. Even though I do think there is future for Uncharted without Nathan Drake, specifically. But, I don't want another Last of Us. The last thing I want is a Last of Us 3. You've told enough of your story. I don't know where else you could take that story.
A lot of people were satisfied with just the first game being released.
And a lot of people should grow up. But, yeah, the point still stands. I don't think anybody really wants a 3rd game. Metal Gear Solid is another franchise. I love Metal Gear. It went on too long. Metal Gear hasn't had a good game in over a decade? Good is subjective.
Yeah,
what are we talking about? It hasn't had a good story in over a decade.
Okay, that's better.
That's not true either. Peace Walker was excellent. But, Peace Walker's such a side story, you can skip it. It's not necessary.
The point is that the game's quality kind of started dropping.
There's peaks and valleys after 3. And arguably even after 1, you could make an argument for. I think you're fucking crazy, but
Rising Revengeance came out. That's a thing that's amazing.
People like that game.
That's a good game.
You like that game.
Oh, I love it.
I need to play that game.
Yeah, it's a fun game. Super fun. Super fun and super short.
Well, I have an idea for a video that I can talk to you about off mic.
Okay.
That requires me to play Rising Revengeance. So I need to go play that. Anyways, no, I love this. I absolutely love this. Now, for anyone who played God of War 2018 and was paying even the slightest bit of attention, this isn't the end of God of War.
It's clearly, okay. We won't say anything because there's no need to, but there's a reason why this specified.
No spoilers, of course.
No
spoilers.
We kind of already spoiled earlier.
But this is the end of the Norse mythology part of God of War.
Yeah. The story even says that,
and I believe them. Yeah, and I believe them when they say that. But there's going to be more God of Wars. Now, will God of War continue without Kratos? That's an interesting conversation we could have.
I feel like it probably should.
It could.
Yeah.
Continue with Atreus, or maybe, a new God of War or something. Maybe something entirely different. Who knows?
Yeah. Ball's in their court.
The ball is in their court. They could go literally anywhere. But, if you watched the little post show they did after the PlayStation Showcase the other week, Corey Barlog came on and he said, "Hey man, I'm not directing this God of War. That's because I'm working on some other stuff that's really exciting and we can't wait to share with you guys." So, Santa Monica Studios probably has a second game cooking.
Yeah.
That they're just not ready to show us yet.
Which, complete side note,
Yeah.
I remember Alana Pierce obviously joined Santa Monica recently.
Yeah.
Is she working on this God of War, or is she working on other projects?
She is not confirmed.
Okay, so I thought she was confirmed to be working with this game, but probably not at this point.
She might be doing both. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And also, I'm not following that closely because I don't care.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything on that front at all.
So, yeah. But yeah, these things, cool, exciting. If you can just be like, "Hey man, this is our story and that's the end of the story." Cool. Great. I'm very happy with that, especially if God of War Ragnarok comes out and is just like a hit that it looks like it's going to be. But yeah, that'll be about it. Mm-hmm. Moving on. Let's go ahead and jump straight into my second penny here, Connor. NVIDIA! What are y'all doing over there, NVIDIA? What do you guys got going on? What do y'all got cooking over there, NVIDIA?
Something sneaky.
What do you guys know? Anyways, VGC, Chris Scullion, NVIDIA confirms leaked GeForce Now list is real, but claims games are speculative. NVIDIA has played down a recent data mine that appears to reveal a number of unannounced games this week, including a Steam version of God of War and Gears 6. In a blog post and accompanying video posted on Monday, developer Igor July documented... That's an interesting name. Igor July documented how he was able to access the database for NVIDIA's streaming service. It includes a list of titles compiled by a Steam database founder, Pavel Djundik. It's very European here.
Very European. Polish.
I
think.
Featuring unannounced games like Final Fantasy 9 Remake, BioShock RTX Remaster, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Halo 5 PC, Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Remasters, Crysis 4, Half-Life 2 Remastered, Injustice 3, and more. NVIDIA has since confirmed that the list is real and claimed that it was used only for internal testing and that the games listed don't necessarily exist. Quote, NVIDIA is aware of an unauthorized published game list with both released or speculative titles used only for internal tracking and testing, a company spokesperson told WCCF Tech. Inclusion on the list is neither confirmation nor an announcement of any game. NVIDIA took immediate action to remove access to the list. No confidential game builds or personal information were exposed. The games listed on the GeForce Now database include God of War, Returnal, and Demon Souls for PC, GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas remasters, unannounced Xbox projects via codename, quote, Fight for Middle-earth, and Injustice 3, Gods Will Fall, Human Fall Flat 2, Total War 9, Helldivers 2, Halo 5 Guardians for PC, Crash Team Racing Nitro Refueled for PC, BioShock 2022, Final Fantasy VII Remake for PC, Bayonetta 3 for PC, Crysis 4, Kingdom Hearts 4. Wow, much of the list could have been made up in placeholder title. Okay, that's about it. We can speculate here as well, VGC. So, first of all, cool that nothing important got leaked here. No confidential things, no secret things that people aren't ready to share, and no personal information. That's all great.
That's the baseline that should be established.
That's fantastic.
With these kind of leaks.
And good on these data miners and hackers for not digging into that shit and just being like, hey man, these are kind of cool, like little game things that we're finding in the files and stuff.
You see, these hackers, they just want to play games.
They don't
care about what Luis in HR department of
they don't care where she lives.
No, they
don't care. Anyways, Luis. Anyways, but Connor, how do we feel about this list of games? These speculative games.
We cut up the next segment of the article, which obviously points out that some of these games have, some information on them, such as the GTA.
Well, yeah,
remasters.
but we can talk about this stuff because we know these things exist.
Yeah, we know
the
GTA.
GTA,
Exactly.
the GTA remasters, they're coming.
Yeah.
Well, they're allegedly coming through
They're
rumors
probably
and stuff,
coming,
but they're
though.
coming.
Yeah.
You know.
So that does raise the question of Obviously, some of these have to be placeholder titles. Like Bayonetta 3 PC, I feel like that wouldn't be on the list.
Is Bayonetta 3 even a video game still? Like, where is that game? That game got announced in 2015, 2016. We haven't seen it since.
And then also, it's probably not even on PC because, Nintendo doesn't really go
the
into
first two
PC.
games aren't on PC.
Yeah.
So that would be weird. So I don't necessarily believe that. Crash Team Racing, I could see, but I don't see why. Because, like, Crash Team Racing, sure, some people liked it and bought it, but it didn't do any numbers like the Insane trilogy did. So I would see that coming to PC before Crash Team Racing, unless Google for me real quick if the Insane trilogy is already on PC, and I don't know what I'm talking about. However, things like Fight for Middle Earth, that's probably the Lord of the Rings game that's being talked about forever. Yeah, sure, that's probably coming to PC. Injustice 3, I fully believe we're going to get an Injustice 3 at some point. I think we're going to get another Mortal Kombat game first, though, because that's where they're making all their money.
Well, actually, they recently, with the Mortal Kombat that's out right now, first of all, Insane Trilogy on PC.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's on Switch, too,
Well, then more. I knew it was on Switch and I knew it was on Xbox. I didn't know if it was on PC.
Yeah.
So, okay. So that, maybe we'll get the Team Racing, but probably not still. Because,
who knows?
Especially with how Activision has been treating those studios with Toys for Bob being disintegrated and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, but Mortal Kombat, it just recently announced. They did one last thing. I don't remember what it was.
Some big thing for Mortal Kombat 11, yeah.
Yeah, they were done with that game. So it would make more sense that Injustice would come out next, since
that's
Mortal
kind
Kombat
of the pattern we've been going off of. But
yeah,
I think Mortal Kombat does better numbers for them than Injustice does.
There's definitely a bigger audience in the fighting game community, to my knowledge, that like that game. So that makes sense.
And people like Injustice. I'm not talking shit about Injustice. Injustice is a good fighting game, but Mortal Kombat just does more.
Mm-hmm.
You don't agree? Injustice is not a good fighting game?
I've just seen, you can do some things where you just, are juggled for a long period of time.
Okay,
Mortal Kombat as well, where you're just I kind of lose here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's them. So, that's what they do there. Helldivers 2, maybe. It's been a long time since the first Helldivers.
And that'd be cool, honestly.
That would be cool. I would personally be interested in playing a Helldivers 2, because I liked the first game quite a bit. But I just don't know. I don't know if Helldivers has enough to warrant a sequel. You know what I'm saying?
There seemed to be a lot of people that played that game. Wasn't there a pretty big player base out the game?
Oh yeah. I think there's a small percentage of people who still play that game.
Mm-hmm.
Crisis 4, is that announced? Is that
no?
A thing?
We have not heard.
Oh wait, no. There's a Crisis remaster coming.
Yes, of the first game, I believe.
Yeah, so nothing on that. So we'll. I don't know about that. Kingdom Hearts 4.
No, that's the weird one.
Not likely.
No.
Not likely. We just got 3 years ago now? 3 years ago now?
And considering how long those games take to make, and who knows where the hell the story's going now, because there is going to be another Kingdom Hearts game.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. But
I mean, I agree there will, but I don't think it'll be I don't know if they'll have a number attached to it. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, is this fan base growing? I don't know if this fan base is growing.
I don't think so. Because 3 was underwhelming. I mean, Phil probably told you that before.
Oh, yeah. Phil, a Kingdom Hearts fan, doesn't like it. Played Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 this last year. I'd be interested in playing another a Kingdom Hearts game for a little bit. Yeah. But, if fans are telling me 3 didn't have the juice, then why am I bothered? And the last, quote-unquote great Kingdom Hearts game came out 3 console generations ago now?
Actually, Dream Drop Distance. Well, there were some games that were really considered well. Now, were they as, did they make as much money? No. Like Dream Drop Distance, 365 and a half days.
I don't think this series has the juice.
It doesn't. Like someone that's played 3 fairly recently, I couldn't finish it because I was just there was nothing grabbing me to keep hold. Kingdom Hearts 2 had that. Dream Drop Distance had that. Other games had that, but 3 it doesn't. Like you said, it doesn't have the juice anymore. I don't think. It's just one of those games that's just gone on too long. I think it's dead now.
It's also I don't care what you Kingdom Hearts fans tell me. There is no way that story is keeping y'all engaged. What fucking crack pipe are you smoking where you think that's storytelling? I said it! I said it.
I thought I was invested until 3 came out and that direction was going there. So, I mean,
what were you invested in, Connor?
Now,
what were you invested in?
Anything that's not related to Disney in those stories.
God, see, and me as a new player, I'm not going to call myself a fan. As a new player of these games, it's the only thing I care about. It's the only thing I fucking care about.
The two sides of the coin.
Anyways, but some more like realistic things on this list that I could totally see happening. Halo 5 Guardians for PC. That kind of makes sense. After a Halo Infinite, let's release the final game that Halo Wars. The first Halo Wars is on PC now, right?
I played it on PC. Yep.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, so Halo Wars 1 and 2 are on there. The Master Chief Collection has all the mainstay games except for 5. So I could totally see 5 coming. I think 5 should come to PC. Halo Infinite coming to PC. Halo lives on PC now. That's just kind of what happens.
So Xbox and PC and Microsoft got their thing together.
Final Fantasy VII Remake for PC, we already know that's coming.
Yeah, it's been a matter of just getting it to work on PC.
Yeah, and Sony's exclusivity deal to wrap up, which should be just about over now. Oh wait, no, they bought themselves like another 6 months with Intergrade. And then God of War, Returnal, and Demon Souls for PC. I believe Demon Souls, Returnal, I don't know, maybe. I could see it, could not. God of War, I think would make sense. Why not? Bring it to PC. If Horizon Zero Dawn's already on there, Uncharted is coming to PC, why not?
Sure.
If Sony's playing around in this field now, I could totally see them doing all this. So some of these, I could totally see. Some of these, I'm like, what the fuck? Somebody's totally guessing. I don't know anything about Total War.
This is all leaks, so, leaks are reliable and unreliable and
yeah.
And of course the company itself was saying, none of these are all just placeholders.
Yeah.
I doubt all of them are placeholders. Can't possibly all be there.
These Sony games, I think, are coming to PC. Halo, Final Fantasy. I'll give you those. Everything else on this list, I don't know. I mean, Human Fall Flat 2. I imagine they're probably working on another Human Fall Flat because, indie studio, you might as well. That game got you money. You might as well get some more money. But then it's like Bayonetta 3 and Crisis 4, Kingdom Hearts. I'm like, not a chance in hell. BioShock 2022. Optimistic.
Yeah, that's
first of all,
optimistic.
I do think we're getting another BioShock eventually.
I mean, we got confirmed, didn't we? Because there was a studio that got a hand on it.
Somebody's working on BioShock. Somebody's. It's not Ken Levine's studio. They're doing something else.
It's no longer that company doesn't exist anymore.
No, they do.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're just doing something else now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They've been doing something else forever. But yeah, another BioShock is coming 2022. Doubtful. But I guess we'll see. Put this as a little feather in your cap of when Tavin and Connor were wrong.
Yeah, E3 2022. We'll see.
We'll find out. It's not going to happen. I'm going to say it right now. It's not going to happen.
Clip that. Somebody.
Clip that. Someone dig into these archives and clip it. Moving on. Connor, your second penny of the day. Shocking that you brought this to the table.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
It's fine?
It's fine, Connor. You can bring this to the table, I guess. Final topic. Quantic Dream is working on a Star Wars game, it's claimed. Another VGC article by Andy Robinson. Quantic Dream's next game will be based on the Star Wars IP, it's been claimed. That's according to French YouTuber Gautaz, who claimed that, I don't speak French, I'm sorry, who claimed this week that the Detroit Become Human and Heavy Rain developer helmed by designer David Cage has signed a deal with Disney. Now that its 3-game contract with Sony has ended. Quote, they now finished their contract with Sony and will be signing with Disney, he said in a video this week. It looks like they will be working on a Star Wars game. The claim was later corroborated by reliable games industry insider Tom Henderson, who posted a cryptic Star Wars and Detroit mashup on Twitter. Earlier this year, Lucasfilm signaled that its Star Wars exclusivity deal with EA was over, or at least coming to an end, by partnering with Ubisoft on a new open-world game. In January, the company described the Ubisoft partnership as a new direction for Lucasfilm Gaming and confirmed it was opening the doors to other developers that want to pitch Star Wars games. Douglas Riley, VP of Lucasfilm Games, wrote, quote, we're looking to work with the best in-class teams that can make great games across all our IP, etc., 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 etc. Yeah. So, the Tom Henderson, the cryptic little tweet image is the intro to Detroit Become Human, where the little the babysitter robot goes haywire and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's a shot of him with 2 lightsabers crossed like the Darth Vader and Luke crossing sabers in front of the Emperor shot.
Very creative picture,
I guess. Oh, you're shaking your head now. You're being sarcastic. I see. Anyways, Quantic Dream, pretty hit or miss studio here. I liked Detroit Become Human. A lot of people found it pretty preachy, and I agree. It's pretty preachy in some areas.
Oh, it is.
Definitely got some issues.
Very, very clear what the right decisions were. But at least for one of the campaigns, it was so clearly
and
what you were
the
supposed
civil
to do.
rights analog with the black community, it's just kind of like, all right, come on, guys.
Yeah.
They literally had the androids sitting in the back of the bus.
No one can deny that this is heavy-handed, their writing style.
Oh, it was gross, but I had fun.
Yeah. I had fun. I enjoyed it.
I was engrossed in the story from beginning to end.
One of the guys was named Connor.
And so it got your seal of approval.
And he had one of the best routes. So fine
I
by
liked
me.
the Freedom Fighter one guy best.
I liked it the most, yeah, but
But I liked all three too. I like all three of them. I liked.
They all had value there. Yeah.
Anyways, but games like Heavy Rain, fucking Beyond Two Souls was a pretty big miss for a lot of people. But Heavy Rain was a hit, even though that game also has its shortcomings.
Does not hold up over time.
No,
I
definitely not.
Remember, I watched you play the entire game.
Yeah,
I believe
most of it at least.
Yeah. I missed the first bit of it.
Yeah.
Like the death of
Yeah.
Jason.
Jason.
But at least that was enjoyable. You could look back on that and say, man, that was fun. That's funny, even if it's not.
I think I think the kid who dies, his name is Ethan.
No. Isn't the first one that dies is Jason?
He calls out the name for both of them. Because when you're running in the mall, he calls out the name. I think it's Ethan in the mall, and then you see the kid get hit by a car. And then when the other kid, Jason, I think it's Jason who gets kidnapped. And then so he's like running down the street screaming, Jason! Probably could do a few more takes there, Quantic Dream. Anyways. No, but like Heavy Rain, cool for the time, not so cool anymore. Detroit Become Human, I think was solid. Solid game. Was it like one of the best games ever? No. I think, the competing, or not competing, I shouldn't say competing, the other developer who did Until Dawn, which I'm drawing a blank on their name right now, I think they've still got the best version of these games out right now.
They definitely do.
And I'll say, in terms of like these like narrative based choice thing, unless Supermassive, thank you, or maybe like some Telltale games were pretty great.
Ah shit, yeah.
Yeah. As far as Star Wars goes, sure, I'll take one of these style games in the Star Wars universe. Why the fuck not?
Would David Cage be making it though?
That's the problem. I don't necessarily want a David Cage Star Wars game. Like
a lot of the things that people tie back to these games being heavy-handed, being not good, those usually
in a
are
franchise that can already be heavy-handed sometimes.
Yeah, it's usually tied back to David Cage. He gets a lot of the flack for this kind of stuff.
Well, it's his writing. It's his stories.
It's deserved, in fairness. So that really hinges on that, because the style of the game could work. I prefer other Star Wars games that don't have that. It's not at the top of my list for Star Wars content. Narrative. What do you call these games?
I don't even know.
Whatever the hell type of game they are. You know what they are.
Narrative sims, these Telltale games, these ones where you're pressing dialogue choices in the dialogue is your QuickTime event. And it's more of a movie than it is a video game. Yeah. But it's still a video game.
Despite me wanting, like I was saying, more action at least more control over whatever character in the Star Wars universe I'm playing in. Yeah. This one would be fine. On rails narrative. Where they could do something about Jedi, they can do something about smuggling or anything like that.
I mean, I think we would all prefer, and we're getting, a more of like a BioWare RPG, and we're getting that with the Knights of the Old Republic remake. Yeah. But I think it's really, I'm open to Star Wars happening in any form. You want to make a Star Wars RTS? Let's go make a Star Wars RTS. You want to make
RTS could work.
RTS could work. You want to do a You want to do a Division type Star Wars game? I think that sounds great too. That sounds fantastic. You want to do like a Uncharted style Star Wars game? That would work for me as well. This, sure, I'll take that. Maybe I'm just a whore for Star Wars, but I think Star Wars is such a big and open and wide universe that it can really be adapted into any type of video game you want. Mm-hmm. Between Jedis and smugglers and armies and droids and all these different things. There's such a wide variety of play styles that can happen in this universe that you can make a Star Wars video game that is out of anything. Yeah. So I'm down. The thing is, it's just like David Cage.
It's like, well, are you going to be there? Maybe he'll be ousted for those. I don't want to say anything, but some kind of allegations against him.
I always liken a Hideo Kojima to say like I always liken him to sort of like a Quentin Tarantino of video games. Heavily stylized, kind of weird in moments, but you can get some really crazy, phenomenal stories out of this guy. David Cage, you're looking at more like an M. Night Shyamalan type, individual here. You're like, more misses than hits, but some of those hits were pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. That's a good. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other comparisons. That's a pretty good one.
That's all I got.
I got that one.
Maybe the Wachowskis.
You know what?
Let's
go with Wachowskis.
Wachowskis not a bad pull either.
Because the Wachowskis movies, I don't like them.
They got a lot of misses, man.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't like them.
They've probably only got one hit.
Matrix.
I liked Cloud Atlas.
Oh yeah, I never saw that.
I liked that movie. It was weird. It didn't make a lot of sense. I liked it though. But maybe I shouldn't. Maybe it's like if I go back and rewatch it, I'll hate it or some shit.
Apparently, Speed Racer is underrated.
People like Speed Racer, man. That's a new thing. That thing is only happened in the last couple of years.
Yeah, my buddy David, he says that's actually a good movie. I don't like the Wachowskis that much.
Connor, do we need to go watch Speed Racers?
I mean, it's maybe.
Man, but that first Matrix though, classic.
Still like that one.
One of the best movies ever made, for sure.
Been a long while since I've seen that.
Has it really?
Oh yeah, the only time I watched it was with you all those years ago.
So we should. Oh, that's the only time you've watched it?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you gotta watch it now. Now as like an adult, because we were like fucking 13, 14 when we watched that movie. Dude, you gotta watch it now, dude. Funny enough, you've probably heard this online. That first movie, all about being a transsexual. It's all about living as a transsexual.
I've heard that, yeah.
You've probably heard it on the internet.
My question is was it, or was it one of those things where in the context
super coded.
Now?
It's super coded, but it's 100% there. It's 100% there. We'll talk about this some other time. We'll watch it someday. I'll sit you down. We'll watch it. We'll have a good time.
We'll analyze it with our gamer minds.
Yeah. Connor, that's going to be it for the news this week.
Yep.
Let's get into what I see as the meat of this here episode of the Two Penny Gamescast, and that's what we've been playing. Now, Connor, real quick before I nerd out, let me just go ahead and have you go first. What have you been playing?
Because I know this is going to take a while.
Oh, we're going to be talking a while.
Yeah.
So,
and for the sake of that, I'll limit it as much as possible.
Okay.
So I beat Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh!
Finished that game.
Oh, you were putting in some work.
Oh, yeah. I finished. I was playing that.
You weren't even halfway through when last week.
It got to the point, I know you said to do a lot of the side stuff. Mm-hmm. I did some side stuff. Definitely did some.
Horizon Zero Dawn, definitely a game you should go platinum. Like, it's a game as someone who understands that platinuming getting platinum and completing games, etc., not for everybody, definitely a game that, is super rewarding to go platinum.
If I have the time, I'll give it a shot. That's the best I can promise.
You're not doing it. You're going to be a bitch about it.
Oh, you're calling me a bitch
now.
Of course you are.
Anyways, continue. Yeah. What did you think of Horizon Zero Dawn, my friend?
Well, I talked before about the gameplay and it just being good, hitting machine parts off. I won't go into that right now. The big thing ever since I last was on the podcast and mentioned that game, the biggest development was the story, obviously, because I knew pretty much nothing about the story. And it took a lot of twists and turns as I didn't know
a lot of layers.
Where things were going. Yeah.
Yeah. You hit that dual narrative going on and you were like, wait, what?
Yeah. I could say it was effective. It took me by surprise, which is clearly what the game was going for.
Yeah.
It tried to keep you as in the dark as possible until the big.
We didn't know anything about going into that game. We didn't know anything about it. We just knew robot dinosaurs and a bow and arrow.
Yes, and it was described in a very adequate way, and it made sense. Because honestly, the story twist, I won't mention it.
No, for whoever hasn't played it yet.
I don't know if people are going to it now because they saw Horizon Forbidden West and thought, I never played the original. Might as well give this play it so I can get ready for the second one. So, in spirit of that. It ended up being the twist was I didn't see it coming, and it made more sense than anything else could have been.
I see what you're saying. We can talk some off mic stuff about it. But you're down. You liked it.
I'm down. I'm interested to see where the story's going forward because there are still some unanswered questions.
Are you a day one Forbidden West player?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fun game. If there's no other game that I'm having to beat at that time or playing. I know. So,
we got a busy spring.
All hinges on that.
Yeah.
But the story definitely has more meat on its bones to gnaw away at. So I'm just going to get to that point later when I play Forbidden West.
I'll say, ironically, though, the story threads they leave open, I'm not super interested in.
You see, I think they're so open-ended that it has the potential to be interesting. It's not the best open-ended.
Sure.
Yeah. So I can't talk about.
But
spoilers.
I'm more excited to. The most exciting part for Zero Dawn with me was discovering new robot types.
Yes.
And figuring out how to take them down and like the way they act, like because they acted like animals, like actual animals. Like I think the AI was super well developed in that game. So like whenever you like the first time you come across what are they called? The not bone saws. That's the fucking wrestler from Spider-Man 1. What are they called? Jigsaws or something? Or you know what I'm
Scrappers?
No, it's a big thing. Like a big
Thunderjaw?
Thunderjaw.
Yeah.
That's
the
it.
big guys.
The first time you come across a Thunderjaw, you're like, fuck, man, how the fuck do I take down something this big?
Thankfully, my first encounter with that was in the middle of a random encounter with some Karja people,
Yeah.
so they had taken it down to half health.
Oh, there you go.
So it was a good introduction to fighting that character.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's one of the bigger criticisms I can have, is those bigger ones, after you beat them for the first time, subsequent encounters with them seem kind of just, you're putting a nail in a coffin.
You get your tactic, and then you just kind of, run. So it does become a little routine.
Yes.
But I think that's kind of the charm of it's hunting.
Yeah, it's the whole game's like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I was so happy with the variety of machines that there were.
Lot.
And all of them had different, like you can kind of, without looking at them with your focus or looking at the machine menu, you could tell where the pieces were.
Yeah.
But even so, there were still little bits, the most effective parts.
Well, you can also just sit back and kind of watch them.
You could,
and figure things out just by watching them. And I think that's just a sign of really good design.
Yeah. I mean, you're a hunt, like you just said, you're hunting. So
exactly,
you got to hunt them. I'm really interested to see how they're going to up the machines in the next games. Obviously, it looks like
we got mammoths,
and then a plagiasaur.
I don't
know,
but some underwater stuff.
The water monster, the water dinosaur.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, so I'm interested to play Forbidden West now that I've finally beaten Horizon Zero Dawn after 5 years. 2016,
2017.
Right? 17. Okay, yeah, but besides that, because I couldn't play Deathloop. Because I don't have a PS5 and my PC
a PlayStation 5, bro.
totally couldn't handle it.
Oh, Deathloop? God, no, it can't handle it.
No, yeah. I knew that right away. So I ended up compromising and got another game.
Also, I'm hearing the PC version of Deathloop kind of
glitches.
Frame rate. I'm hearing heavy frame rate issues.
I think recently news came out about that, by the way, that it had something to do with. It wasn't like the anti-cheat system or something like that.
I couldn't tell you. Also, you want to play Deathloop
on PS5?
On PS5 so that me and Phil can fuck with you.
Oh, you're going to do that?
Yes, I'm going to do that. Hell yes, I'm going to do that.
Did Phil fuck with you?
Not yet. No, he started the game. He only started the game like 2 days ago or whatever. I'm giving him just a little bit of time. Also, our schedules were kind of crazy this weekend, so we've been working a lot. But yeah, I'm about to go start fucking with him, and it's gonna be great. Okay. But we'll get to that. What else have you been playing?
Yeah. So instead of buying Deathloop, I ended up buying Tales of Arise. So.
Oh.
Yeah. Tales of Arise, it's a part of a series of games similar to Final Fantasy, where each of the games,
the Tales games are
different.
Yeah.
Very, very, popular JRPG. This is my first foray into it. I've never played any of the other ones, and this is...
Oh, this looks like your bread and butter, buddy.
Oh, it's my bread and butter. Yeah. Okay, so it's very anime-inspired if you take a look at any screenshots anywhere. So if you don't like that stuff...
I mean, I get it. It's Japanese.
Yeah,
it's Japanese. It's clearly very Japanese.
But this is probably one of the best games of the year for me so far.
This is a new game this year?
It's a new game. It came out September 10th.
Oh shit, it just came out.
It just came out. I saw some stuff on Twitter, and I wasn't going to buy it, but then when I was going to... I was thinking, like, I can't play Deathloop. What do I want to do? I saw that being released. So I ended up picking it up, and...
What are you playing this on?
It's great. PS4.
PS4?
I mean, PC.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway,
you gotta upgrade your rig, buddy.
Yeah, I know. But the game functions most similar to Final Fantasy VII Remake. Because it got rid of... I don't know when they got rid of the active time battle system. I'm telling you right now, you would enjoy the gameplay of this game.
Oh.
You definitely would.
Oh.
So the whole...
my backlog is so big already, buddy.
I know.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Not going to go into the story. There's no reason to right now. So I'll stick to gameplay right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know how... I know the game is 30 to 35 hours long.
Well, just real quick, what is your impression of the story so far?
Overall, it's... A lot of it hinges on the characters themselves.
Okay.
And I do like how the world, in light of how, anime it looks, does things a little bit darker. Because the whole premise of the game is, there was this a planet, right?
I just wanted a positive or negative. Positive, negative. I don't need a story breakdown.
It's got a lot of slavery involved. I'll tell you that right now. Slavery done pretty darkly, all things considered, like loss of civilization type stuff, due to long
slavery ever done well?
What? Well, like it's
I guess in Harry Potter.
Oh yeah. But anyway, going back to gameplay, it's kind of a weird thing to say. It's based around a party system. So obviously you have a party of 4 people at any given time.
Okay.
And it, like I said, it plays similar to Final Fantasy VII Remake in the sense where you're running around. You have certain abilities that are tied to certain buttons called astral arts. So they're connected to triangle, square, and X. Without having to change your button mapping. And then you also have those are based around ground attacks, but when you're in the air, those change to aerial moves. So, once again, triangle, X, square. And then you have a light attack. So the base of the way the combat works is you go in with those light attacks and mix in those astral arts for combos, because they chain into one another. So, for example, as of right now, and I can get it later on, R1, the regular attack, hits 3 times, and then it, resets. So you're going to have a space in between.
It's on, a cooldown, or is it just like a beat before you can use it again?
A beat before you can do it, yeah. So Astral Arts, the way it positions itself in the game is you do them after those 3-hit combos, and then you can just go right back in after you do that Astral Art into the R1.
This looks fun.
Dude, the gameplay is so fun. I compare it to Final Fantasy VII Remake because it's the most I can say about it, but it plays differently.
Fuck,
it very much plays differently. The cast members
You're going to fuck up my whole schedule with this game. This game was not on my radar at all. I knew it was coming, but I just didn't...
As you can tell from the gameplay, it's very flashy, which I absolutely love. Of course, it being an anime-style game. So...
Fighting a lot of monsters here. Is this really Monster Hunter-y, or...
No, monsters and people. I mean,
Monster Hunter, but does it play like Monster Hunter though?
No,
I don't. Okay, because I don't vibe with Monster Hunter's game.
No. You are not playing Monster Hunter with this game.
Oh, okay, cool.
Hit my mic. So all of the cast members that I get play in completely different ways, and you can swap between them at a moment's notice. And you can also change out arts in the middle of combat because you have access to tons of arts. So much so that the computers of your party members come into play instrumentally, because there are so many different abilities that you unlock that you can only use so many of them, but other members of your party aren't limited by only having 3 for your ground attack and 3 for your aerials. You can actually select what moves they use in combat automatically without you having to control them at all. And they do it in a way where they play to their function as best as possible. So, with the exception of one character, you never actually feel like you're babying your party members, and all of it relies on, you just controlling them in that way. In fact, you are actually taking hits way more than your partners are. You're only occasionally having to deal with their health dropping, or
Well, that's kind of how 7 Remake did as well. Like your party members would the AI would focus you,
which is why I took to this combat very, very quickly. Though it's not like Final Fantasy VII Remake in the way that you're constantly pausing things. It's a lot more active combat.
Okay,
where the only time you're ever pausing the game really is to switch between party members. Because you can pause it so you're not dealing with that
Take a
stress.
minute, think, and strategize real quick before you dive in. Okay.
Yes. Like I said, so your main character is your usual melee combat guy. He's got the sword. He's got a lot of quick moves that are able to get in there fast and get out fast in response to moves that you have to dodge, obviously. You have the other secondary character who's like the person who's really good against aerial enemies, I should say, and shooting from range while also using healing abilities. The other character, another character...
Got a 9 from IGN this time.
It's amazing game. It is absolutely amazing. There's a magic character that you'll really like how she works, because the way it works is Astral Arts, the magic abilities that this character uses, has a charge system. So when you press X, for example, it'll start charging that ability. The way she operates is that you can charge it to make it do more damage, but you can charge it and then seal away the ability, and then you have that in your person. So then you're able to do another spell. And when you do that next spell, those combine to either do a new spell entirely or a higher tier level of a spell if it's the same exact spell that you're putting out.
On this, bro.
Oh, it's good. Another character is really good at getting past people's defenses. Another character is good at being the defense. And then there's one other character that I haven't gotten in my party yet. Okay. All of them serve a different function. And like I said, if you go into a combat situation and you're like, I don't want this character anymore because they're not relevant to the situation, you just switch them out.
It's just straight in the menus on the fly. You don't have to go back to base or nothing. Okay,
nope.
Neat.
So it really combat's moving fast.
Yeah,
and you're always doing something.
Nice.
And as far as difficulty is concerned, it constantly levels up with you. So when I started out, it's pretty common to fight 2-3 enemies with your 2-man team.
Yeah.
But where I am right now, where I can have 4 at any given time, now I'm fighting like 6 or 5 or 7 enemies at any given time. So
they're making it more complex as your abilities grow.
While also making the enemies themselves be tougher and having more powerful attacks that are harder to dodge, more unpredictable. Combat is great. Awesome. And the way you were able to decide the strategies that your teammates go through is very in-depth. Probably more in-depth than any system I've experienced before, because you can go down... It starts with the base thing. So it'll say something like, you fight moderately, and then you prioritize being aggressive, prioritize holding back and not being too aggressive, and then the other one just not doing anything at all, and just, trying to just stay alive.
And to think, I was thinking about starting Persona 3 this week.
Oh, no, I was... This is a
not
game...
anymore.
This is a game you're having way more fun with. I feel with the day-to-day gameplay, because it's just so proactive.
Yeah.
Do you know who the people who were really, really big on YouTube back in the day? My best friend plays.
I don't
know.
No.
Anyway,
I'll
cancel that.
Let's get to the death loops here,
because you're going to be talking for a while.
We're going to be talking about Deathloop here. So Deathloop, new big game from Bethesda, Xbox owned, but PlayStation exclusive, except also on PC. So PlayStation console exclusive.
So not, yeah.
And I've been playing it. Connor, I've done it. I've broken the loop. I've beaten the game.
Quickly.
I've quote-unquote beaten the game. Fairly quickly. The game came out Tuesday. So
it seemed like you beat it pretty quick. Considering...
I would say the game is about 15 hours long, give or take.
That's what I looked up online, too. Yeah. So it took around that for you, too?
Yeah. And it was... And at first I was like, I like this, but I don't know how much I like this with the first 2 to 3 hours of the game, because it's heavy tutorializing in the front, because there is a lot of systems in this game that you have to worry about. And there's a lot of things you have to juggle all at once. So there's a lot of stopping and the game saying, hey, this is this system. You read a paragraph of us telling you how this system works, and then we are going to show you in game how the system works. And you're like, okay. And there's a lot of reading in the front, but there's a fair amount of reading in the game in general. So, for those of you who don't know, Deathloop is continuing the trend of this year of having some type of time loop game. Returnal, 12 minutes. I'm hearing things about the Forgotten City. We've got, there's another time loop game somewhere around here that I'm forgetting. Anyways, but Deathloop is this big one from Arcane Studios, formerly of Dishonored, and most recently Prey.
And Dark Messiah, Might and Magic.
Yeah, there you go, Dark Messiah, Might and Magic. And I was a huge Dishonored 1 fan. I liked Dishonored 2 a lot. I just never finished it. Prey, I played for 2 hours, and it was the most anxiety-inducing 2 hours I've ever played in a video game.
Oh.
So, I've got nothing bad to say about Arcane Studios. I think, as far as I'm concerned, they've never made a bad game.
Mm-hmm.
This game is their magnum opus so far.
Mm-hmm.
This game is a masterpiece. This game is my current game of the year.
Those Dishonored fans are going to come for your head if they disagree with you.
If you're a Dishonored fan, you're going to fucking adore Deathloop.
Mm-hmm.
This game is straight, this is the most spiritual successor to Dishonored I think we could ever get. Because I think Dishonored is just an IP that just didn't really hit in the way that it should have. And I think Prey even more so, just didn't hit, even though they were great games. I think Deathloop, I think they've got a hit on their hands here. I think it's gonna hit in some mainstream ways, to where I don't know if we'll ever get a Deathloop 2, but it's definitely gonna put Arcane on the map of being oh, those are some of those guys. You go play those games. So Deathloop is a time loop game in which you play Cult. And I'm not going to get too deep into the story because kind of the fun of the game is unraveling its narrative and figuring out why Colt is in this time loop, figuring out all the characters in this game and their motivations and how they act and how they behave and stuff, and the mysteries of Black Reef Island. So I'm going to stay very, very vague on all of those ends because part of the gameplay is chasing down these narrative threads. You're doing some investigation work. You're reading people's emails. You're digging through their dirty laundry and figuring out how they all feel about each other and how they behave and such. So Deathloop is a game in which there are 4 parts of the day in which you can choose to do something. And your goal is to kill all 8, what do they call them? You have 8 targets. You have to kill 8 targets before
scientists
before the end of the day. No, it starts with a V. I've forgotten. Google it for me real quick. So you have but there's only 4 periods of time in the day: the morning, the noon, afternoon, evening, in which you can go in any one period of time. You can go to one of 4 locations. While you're in that location, you can spend as long as you want in that location. You're not on a time. You're not on a timer while you're there. I can hang out in Carl's Bay in the morning for 3 hours or 20 minutes. However long it takes me to get whatever my objective is to get done. What are they called? Visionaries. I just thought of it while I looked at you. So you got to kill these 8 visionaries and break the loop that Colt is living. Meanwhile, one of the visionaries, Juliana, is hunting you down. And trying to kill you. And if you die, your loop resets and you go back to the beginning. And there are certain systems and stuff in place to where you can continuously have progression in the game. So they don't give it to you at first. They have this thing called infusion, in which you enter an area. When you start the game, you only have this little shitty SMG and Colt's innate ability, which is reprise. In which you can, it's basically like you have 3 lives. You have your first life, you die, you come back. Second life, die, come back. Third life is the final one. If you die in that third life, game over. And you gotta start your day over. That's pretty much it. You have the one gun, shitty ammo, shitty gun, and that. What did I call it? Infusion? That's what it's called? Yeah. Is basically the system in which when you enter an area, you pick up different guns, if you kill a visionary, they have abilities that you can pick up, and use those abilities and stuff. And you are, basically picking up a currency as you're playing alongside, and using that currency to buy those weapons and abilities and, attachments, in order to keep them into your next loop. So let's say I pick up a shotgun, but I don't infuse it. If I die or the day ends and I get reset, I don't have that shotgun. But if I do infuse it, I keep that shotgun.
I'm sorry, this is just a quick story question.
Go ahead.
I needed to get out of the way, and I know it's been answered.
Mm-hmm.
When the whole idea of the loop, does everybody remember what happens in subsequent loops, or are you is that story spoilers?
Some do, some don't.
Okay.
The random NPCs and stuff, to them, it's the first day that they've ever been on the island.
Okay.
Every day. So and I think it's kind of funny because they've given all the NPCs, everybody is hostile towards you.
Yeah.
And they've given all the NPCs these masks, these colored masks, so everybody's real colorful looking and stuff. And that's just kind of to add to the style of the game. But really it's so that you're going to go through these areas and you're going to hear these repeat dialogue conversations again and again and again. So I know at nighttime there's these 3 people who talk about a fireworks show every night. And if they had a face, I would probably feel bad about killing them every night. But because it's just a colored mask, I'm like, you're just a colored mask, whatever. You know how people felt bad in Last of Us 2 because people had names and were quote unquote characters and stuff, and they were like, man, I feel bad that I killed Sarah or whatever. It's kind of that, but the opposite. We're I don't feel anything because this guy is just a
faceless person.
It's a faceless person. I don't care if they talk about the fireworks show every night. It's stuff like that. I'll say the game's style is fantastic. Again, takes a lot. It's a huge spiritual successor from Dishonored. I would even, if they told me this is in the same universe as Dishonored, I would believe them. Obviously way in the future, different, but same. But yeah, I don't even know where to start because I love this game so much. Just the constant, and then the one thing you have to bring into each loop is knowledge from the last loop. And the game does a great job with its UI and its tracking of information to where if you put the game down, go to sleep, wake up, you can just read your notes real quick and be like, okay, that's right. That's the lead I'm chasing. That's what I'm trying to figure out. That, visionary number 3. That's right. I'm figuring out how this guy interacts throughout the day and where he shows up and what periods of time that he's vulnerable and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And your whole plan is to kill these 8 visionaries in one day, but you quickly find out you don't have enough time to kill all 8. So it's a matter of manipulating their characters' behaviors to get them in positions to kill them all. Get some double kills and some triple kills, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
It's effectively impossible to do this game on a playthrough?
In your first loop?
Yeah.
It is impossible.
Even with prior knowledge?
Yes, because even if you have that knowledge, Colt doesn't.
Aha, okay.
And some of these things require setup that take multiple loops to set up.
Okay, that's interesting. That's where you're talking about the game design, how it's one of the best ever.
This game has some of the best game design I've ever seen in a video game ever. Like, the way it is built from just the pure, like, just systems and I don't even know how to describe it other than just saying its systems all interact with each other perfectly. It's just pure just game design genius of this is how you enact a loop and carry it through. And I've been seeing some talk, even Arcane has said this isn't a roguelike game, it's not a Hitman game. It is kind of, it's a mix of kind of those games. The best I've been able to describe it as, it's a time loop game with Dishonored gameplay, plus guns, with kind of the structure of Hitman, in which you enter a level, and how you kind of complete that level is up to you, and you can get, like, really creative with some shit, but, you know, and then, you know, but you're there for a target, and you go and you find your target, and you know, you take your target out, and, I can't tell you, there were a number of loops where I played out a whole day. I didn't kill a single visionary intentionally because I was like, I just want to see what happens if I do this. I want to see what happens if I just sit back and watch and wait. I want to see what happens if I trick this up and fuck up this scripting path and see what happens. And this is stuff Arcane has always been good at. Dishonored was this way too. And there were entire loops that I played where I was like, I really just want to focus on getting better weapons. So I'm going to just focus on getting as much of the currency that's in the game and infusing weapons and getting attachments and stuff. And I'm just going to kind of farm that a little bit. There were entire loops where I was like, I know there is not a single visionary at this location at this time. I know there's not. But I'm going to go there anyway because there's some information there that would help me in a different loop. Et cetera, et cetera. So it's really like tracking down these leads and doing some like investigation shit that like it's just so well done. And it's really like just where the meat of the game, I think, lives. Alongside its quasi-PvP mode, in which I mentioned Juliana, who is the main antagonist of the game, who is constantly calling you and harassing you and stuff, and you know, her and Colt have a great back and forth radio play stuff. I'll say Colt and Juliana are fantastic actors. The actors behind them kill it. They're instantly, Colt specifically, instantly charismatic. You are instantly on his side. I've never heard someone say shit and fuck so many times in so many different ways. Like, he really sometimes it's a fuck, sometimes it's fuck, sometimes it's fuck. You know, it's like, he switches it up so many times. And I've now hit the point where, like, I've exhausted all the dialogue between the two, and it's funny because every time you enter a level, Juliana calls you and makes fun of you or whatever, and there's still the animation of, like, Colt reaching up to his ear to talk to Juliana, but no dialogue is happening back and forth, so it just stops, which is a little weird, but whatever. So the quasi-PvP mode is Juliana's hunting you down. You, as a player, kind of like Dark Souls, can invade another player's game as Juliana and hunt them down and kill them, and totally ruin the progress they're trying to make, or whatever. And being on both sides of the fence, this is always exciting. Every time it happens, it's always exciting. And you can turn it off, and the AI will throw the game will throw an AI version of Juliana at you, if you're playing complete single player. But it's really fun if you turn that online mode on, and you really let a real player come in and track you down and try and hunt you.
Which happened to you?
Oh, it's happened to me several times. And, you know, it's always a coin toss as to who wins. Because Juliana only has one life. She doesn't have the reprise ability. But Juliana is on the side of the NPCs. So, the only threat to her is Colt. Whereas Colt's threats are all around him. And as a player, you're going to start as Colt. You're going to play as Colt for several hours, and you're untangling the mysteries and stuff, and you're figuring out the story and so forth. Me as Juliana, when I enter an area, say if we're in, I keep pulling this one because it's just the thing. If we're in Carl's Bay in the morning, you're here for one of three reasons, and I know you're here for one of three reasons because I have more knowledge than you because I've played the game. Yeah. So I'm in Juliana. I know where you spawn. because I know where you spawn in the morning. You have a different spawn point depending on the time of day, and there are visual differences in the levels. Like in the afternoon, things are snowy. Mm-hmm. Don't know why, but they are.
It looks nicer.
It looks nicer. So like, if I'm in Carl's Bay in the morning, you're here for one of three reasons. So I can very quickly, and I know where you spawn, so I can very quickly pinpoint where you are. You're going to be in one of three lanes. Oh shit, he's not in this lane, so he must be doing this. Okay, so I'm going to go over there. And then use that to my advantage to try and hunt you down and take you out. Now, in my experiences playing as Juliana, I'm at about a 50% win rate. Because Colt having his multiple lives thing is a bit of a tank. So it takes some effort to win. But they do give you enough advantages. Juliana has an ability to where she can take the place of an NPC. So you instantly like start walking around as if you're an NPC and you're like trying to stick to like specific paths and stuff. But if you're a smart player playing as Colt, you can be like, I know there's not a fucking NPC right there. That's Juliana and fucking Sniper. And it's just that constant like cat and mouse game back and forth that I think is really going to breathe some life into this game to where people are going to want to come back and keep coming back, and maybe we'll get like a little bit of a community going on. It's not going to be a live service game by any means, and I think after a week or two, I think even the spectacle of it is going to wear off for me as well. But I'm really excited to dive into Phil's game. When you eventually get a PS5 and play, I'm very excited to jump into your game and just fucking mess you up and get on your nerves.
Yeah, I do know that based off like Dark Souls, that is generally the way it goes. Dark Souls seems more supported in that system, the invasion system, because you can go to certain areas and fight. But yeah, Juliana, it seems like the shelf life of that would be kind of shorter. I don't know how well.
Well, they do help because Juliana also has a progression system. She starts off with some very basic equipment and like just her one ability, and she gets progression and she unlocks new weapons and attachments and abilities through your typical leveling system. Mm-hmm. And the way the leveling system works is based off of what you do while you're invading other players' games. There's feats, they call them. There's feats that you can achieve while you're in another player's game. One of the really early ones that you discover is like stay alive in another player's game for 3 minutes, which is pretty easy if you don't know where the Colt if you've lost the Colt and you're like trying to find him and stuff. Very quickly you'll be in there 5. You know, I think my longest one I was in there for 10 minutes because this motherfucker saw me and fucking booked it and I'm just gone. I don't know where he went. I eventually tracked him down and that was one of the ones that I did win.
Couldn't run away forever.
No, he couldn't, buddy. Mm-hmm. It feels good when you win. It feels really good when you win. On both sides, it feels good when you win.
I'm guessing there's some kind of quirky line that's also said each time, just to dig it in.
No, not really.
Oh, really? Just kill?
No, it's just kind of a kill. And then, when you do kill, as Colt, if you do kill Juliana, any abilities or, there's like attachments for the abilities, or like little like, what do they call it? I don't know the exact word that they call it, but there's like little like, attributes. Like perks that you can apply to your abilities. So, for example, there's an ability called Reach, which if you play Dishonored, it's Blink. It's literally Blink.
Okay.
There's an attribute for Reach to make it go further. So, like, say if I'm Juliana, I have that ability equipped, and that Colt doesn't have that. When he kills me, that will drop for him. And he can grab that and infuse that and use that. And if you kill a Juliana, your reprise gets reset. So to kind of help you out. So like if you're down a reprise or something, and you're like, fuck, I'm not going to make it out of this level alive. Unless I go get this Juliana right now and I win that fight. So it all comes down to winning that fight. Mm-hmm. And then you can play out the rest of the level the way you want. But yeah. Great gameplay, great design. The gunplay feels very good.
That was the big question I had, because I remember I was like, I was interested in Deathloop. Mm-hmm. The mechanics of the game, from what we were being told, obviously were very interesting.
Yeah.
But until I saw a lot of the gunplay, specifically in one trailer, that's when it really clicked for me. So it does feel very, very nice.
Gunplay feels good. It's impactful. When you land a shot, it feels good to land that shot. I'll say it's not like a great shooter. It's not like, it's definitely like, it's not like, I think Splitgate's shooting is fantastic. Like, it's not like super technical shooting. I mean, like, you're still landing your headshots and stuff and things that are critical. And there are unique weapons. For example, the quote unquote stealth weapon is this thing called the Spiker, which it's basically it's your equivalent of a silenced pistol, but it's a nail gun.
Oh, that's cool.
So you're shooting nail guns, but this weapon is only useful if you hit a headshot. Like if you hit a body shot, like you're basically just annoying it in PCs with that. So that's a really cool, really creative weapon that I really like. It's a weapon that is very useful for Colt. I don't think is very useful at all for Juliana.
Sounds incredibly useless.
Yeah. So like I'm finding my play styles changing depending on who I play. With Colt, it's very movement based with me. I need to be able to move. I need to be able to get around. I have a thing to where my power gauge is increased, so I can use powers more often. I'm using silent weapons and snipers, and I carry a shotgun for when shit goes haywire. With Juliana, I'm using powers that make me more of a tank and allow me to take more damage. I'm putting more health upgrades on me. I don't have any silenced weapons at all, or any stealth weapons at all. It's all about having a big clip, having a powerful clip, and having guns that do damage fast.
Are sniper rifles ones that you would use as Juliana?
Occasionally. I carry. There's an in between rifle that's like not really a sniper, but like a
DMR
is a rifle. I use that for when I am engaged in a long range battle, because it does happen. And ironically, I don't always carry a sniper with Colt either. It just kind of depends on what my objective is for that loop and for that period of time that I'm in.
Right.
So I'm constantly like switching out my loadout and changing things out and circling and cycling things out. It's one of the first games that I've ever played where like I'm not using the same two abilities again and again and again. You kind of fall into that habit naturally as a player where you're like, hey, this ability works for me. I'm going to keep using this. Other than Reach, which even with Juliana, I use Reach so that I can get around quick. You carry a secondary ability. That secondary ability is always getting swapped out for me. Like, sometimes it's the Nexus ability, which, while I'm playing as Colt, I'll use Nexus, which allows you to link enemies together. So if you do damage to one, that damage is spread across all of them. So if I get one headshot, 3 or 4 bodies could drop.
Damn, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great. I'm not using that as Juliana, though, because I only have one target. But Juliana or there's an ability where you basically like you use the Force to throw someone into somebody else. I'm not using that as Colt. I don't find any use for it. But I am using it as Juliana. There's an ability where you turn invisible. I'm using it as Colt. I'm not using it with Juliana. So it's interesting how like the gameplay is exactly the same between the two, but I'm using them in different ways to really flex and get creative with my objectives and what I'm trying to do. Which just speaks to how fucking well designed this video game is. Like, I haven't been this addicted to a game loop since Phantom Pain. But even on this podcast, I've said, you play Phantom Pain, you really just need your tranquilizer upgraded all the way, and your starter assault rifle. And sure, maybe you throw a sniper rifle, or maybe you throw a rocket launcher in there, but you really only need those 2 weapons to get through okay.
Or is this when you're constantly switching out all these different types of weapons?
There are times where I will literally drop my customized gun because it won't fit for the situation that I'm in, so that I can pick up somebody else's gun and use that.
And I'm assuming there's not really any bad guns in the game. Like, most of them are pretty much all have a use. Obviously,
there are some I dislike. But,
I mean, obviously, if everyone's gonna have their own preferences.
But there's not been one where I pick up and I go, I don't see the point in this. And for a long time, there was one of the abilities where I was like, I don't see the point of this ability. But then I played as Juliana, and I was like, no. I need this.
It's really a Juliana ability.
It's a Juliana ability, but you don't get that for half of the game until you decide to try Juliana out. I cannot sing the praises of this game enough. However, I don't think it's a perfect game by any means. I think the AI is pretty dumb. It's still like, you can still get overwhelmed, and a game can still occasionally be punishing like Dishonored was, but you run around the corner, you find yourself a nice little hiding spot. Guards in this game, they have the attention span of fucking birds, man. They instantly forget about you. It's like old school, like Metal Gear Solid days, where they're like instantly like, all right, everything's fine, and it's like shocking. And like, if you get caught in one area, it's not like the entire base is in lockdown. Suddenly, it's like, oh, I'm in the pub, and I got caught while I'm in the pub, but the dudes outside the pub don't know that I got caught. So like, if I just get outside and I don't get caught by those guys who are outside, I'm fine. and it's stuff like that.
Because the enemies are locked to those areas then.
Yeah.
They don't leave them.
It feels that way. There are some areas where, like, they'll bleed, there's, like, some castle areas that they'll bleed back and forth a little bit because it's a little more of, like, a space within a space. But, like, when you're just in the streets, like, the dudes in the library aren't gonna leave the library. So I do feel like the AI is a little bit dumb. I do feel like the game is a little too hand-holdy in parts. Overall, I feel like the game is a little too easy, with the exception of when you're fighting a player.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's my internet or if it's the game's networking, but there's a lot of lag happening for me.
I
feel like it's probably my internet.
I think there's also been lag problems in general, even on PS5.
Maybe they just need some time to get their servers in check and stuff. But when a game, when the lag isn't too intense and I am having that cat and mouse chase between another player and myself, it is always fun. It's always exciting. And just the opportunity, and this is truly a play your way type of game. It doesn't punish you for going guns blazing. It doesn't punish you for being fully stealth. And when you are stealth and you get caught, it doesn't punish you for getting caught.
It's just another way to play the game at that point.
It's just another way to play the game. I feel zero... This is the first time it's ever happened to me well, not the first time, but it's one of the few times it's happened in a stealth game where when I get caught, I feel no shame in just going, alright, fuck it, I'm killing everybody.
Because I get that shame where sometimes you're, like, trying to go back into hiding to make up for it.
I'm a non-lethal ghost player. I like it when I get in and get out and nobody knows I was there. And, like, nobody's the wiser. That's my shit. I fucking love that. It's how I play Dishonored. It's how I play Metal Gear. It's how I play Splinter Cell. That's just how I do things. This game, I can still do that. That's still an option for me. But I don't have to. And unlike Dishonored, where, like, you got a bad ending if you killed everybody in a level. In this game, it's like, no. Like, you can do that. That's fine. Because... you're in a loop. You're going to be here tomorrow.
And they're all scumbags anyway.
Exactly. I do think the ending is quite abrupt.
I'm guessing you just kind of end the loop and it just kind of ends.
Depending on some choices made, it can just kind of end. Mm-hmm. I've discovered 2 endings. One of which I was super into. The other one I didn't care too much for.
And which one did you get? The one that you were into?
The one I was into was the first one I got.
Okay, good. Oh, you beat the game twice?
It's like a thing where it's like you can just replay your same loop again and again and again.
Okay.
Or you can completely start fresh. I haven't started fresh yet because I kind of want to keep my cult progress for a little while, and there's some other loose ends that I still want to tie up and figure out. But yeah, for the most part, it's just where was I going with that? But yeah, for the most part, it's you play your loop and then literally on my objective screen, it's just break the loop. And it's like, this is how you break, it's literally like telegraphs, you go here, then you go here, then you go here, then you go here.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah.
You already did it once, so you just...
Yeah, because I already did it once, and, the game is, keeping track of all of the knowledge I have obtained throughout my loops. But yeah, I think my biggest critiques are just with how the AI functions. They all just kind of seem pretty dumb. They kind of just, run at you in a straight line. There are times where I'll just run down a corner and then pull my shotgun out and turn around and wait for them. And they'll just keep, coming around the corner, blast, 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 no...
Coming down the conveyor belt.
Yeah, and they're not, and because because most NPCs think it's the same day, they're not learning, they're not taking any knowledge in, they're not adjusting tactics at all, like they did, with Phantom Pain, I liked it a lot because, if you replayed a mission too many times and you were getting too many headshots, they started wearing helmets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or if you went in guns blazing, they started wearing body armor. Mm-hmm. I kind of wish this game had that kind of system where, the more I invaded an area in a certain period of time, the more the heavier guarded it would be.
Because they realize that's where you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I've been there in the past. Or if hey man, he keeps using this route. Okay, let's put some sentry turrets there. To kind of disarm him a little bit.
Yeah.
I understand that would already make things way more difficult than they need to be. And it would kind of disrupt some story progress.
Especially when you're going through it again and again and again and again.
And I don't know if this is true or not, but the solution to breaking the loop, I feel like there's only one solution. Now, it might just because that's because of the solution I found, but I feel like it's the only solution in the game.
Yeah.
Because the solution is tied into character behavior of the visionaries. Which, are fair enough and interesting characters, and if you sit back and just kind of watch them and how some of them interact, some of their relationships are kind of interesting.
Oh yeah.
Some of them, there one relationship in particular, I was watching them interact, and I was like, you two are fucked up. Y'all are twisted.
Yeah.
This is weird. I'm uncomfortable.
I'm gonna kill you now.
I'm gonna kill you now.
That's pretty funny. Because part of the thing is that they're all just terrible human beings.
Oh yeah, they're all bad.
Yeah.
They're all bad. They're all bad. Well, with the exception of like maybe Colt and Juliana. But depends on how you view some things. But anyways, yeah, Deathloop, game of the year right now, by a country mile too. In a year where I've been singing Returnal's praises for design and systems all goddamn year, and somehow this game has beaten that.
Yeah.
I do wish it had the difficulty spike of Returnal, but this game just wins in every category for me. It's got a good story, not a great story, but a good story. A bit of an abrupt ending, which is unfortunate. But it's got style. It's got great design. It's got great systems. It's got a great gameplay loop. It feels great to play. There's flexibility in play style. There's great voice acting. There's really creative and ingenious solutions. If there's ever a moment where you go, I wonder if the designers thought if the player was going to do this, and then you try it out, they thought of it. They said, yeah, and there's a reaction to it.
The developers were smarter than the player, basically.
For the most part. I'm sure there's some things like people can do and stuff that they're like, oh shit, we didn't know you could do that. Deathloop, absolutely a must-buy for a PlayStation 5 and a reason to buy a PlayStation 5. Play it on whatever... If you want to play it on PC, fine, play it on PC. All sound is that it, all the murmurs on the internet right now is that it plays better on PlayStation 5. There's some like frame rate issues and glitches and stuff happening with the PC version. And I did come across my fair share of glitches as well. I keep coming across this game-breaking glitch in which you often have to pull up the pause menu to like look through your notes and see objectives and stuff. And I keep getting this glitch where I go to leave this menu and it doesn't leave.
That's the worst.
And then I'm stuck on this pause menu. And the game doesn't pause when you pause. So like, if Juliana's hunting you and you pull this menu up real quick and then close it, but then get stuck, she can kill you while you're in this menu. And I almost wish she fucking would. And every time I've had to restart my whole game.
Uh-huh.
And granted, like, the game does a good enough job of checkpointing me in my progress in that loop. It doesn't start my loop over, but it does start that level over, which can get annoying when I'm on my third attempt at getting this fucking ability off of this visionary, and then the game freezes. And I'm like, well, fuck, can't complete the level. That's been the most annoying. Sure, there's been some clipping issues. I've had, enemies go through walls and stuff. But, whatever. Those are more forgivable instances. It's when it's game-breaking like that to where it's like, fuck, man. I've had some HUD issues, every once in a while, but nothing too serious. The big one is just like, and I've had it happen like 6 times, where I go to leave the pause menu and it won't unpause. And it's just, I'm just stuck looking at the screen. I'm like, fuck, man.
But other than that, it's not too glitchy.
No, for the most part, the game functions the way it's supposed to function. Yeah. Great game. Phenomenal job, Arcane. And just absolutely deserves every bit of praise it's been getting.
Play it the first chance I get?
Absolutely.
That's the Connor guarantee.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this has been your episode of the Two Penny Gamescast, episode 61. Please, remember, hit a subscribe, hit a follow on the likes, youtube.com/2pennygamescast, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts. We're out here. Please share us with your friends. It really does help. I just bought my mic. It really does help. And until, remember, you can catch us at twitch.tv/2pennygames. I don't know if we're going to be streaming this Tuesday. I'm getting my second vaccination on Monday. So I might be too sick to stream.
Or you can be like me and feel nothing at all.
You didn't feel anything at all?
Not even sore.
See, I'm hoping because I've had COVID that maybe like my immunity system has built some kind of thing and maybe I'll feel fine.
That makes sense.
Stay tuned for that. Remember, you can catch the After the Hype review for Uncharted 2 Among Thieves live right now over at youtube.com/2pennygamescast. And there's a whole playlist of reviews and stuff that you can watch. You can also watch Phil's first entire playthrough of Metal Gear Solid 1 and about half of my Kingdom Hearts 1 playthrough. I don't like that game so much, Connor, that I don't want to edit it.
Wow. Jesus, you're not even playing
It's a long game, dude. We played it for so many hours, and I'm tired of looking at it. But anyways, that's my fault. I just need to get off my lazy ass while working a part-time job that's treating me like I'm working a full-time job. Anyways, tip your servers. You know, have respect to your
servers.
Just respect your service industry people. Just in general, man. They're understaffed, they're overworked, and we're tired.
Yeah, those industries are hard.
Anyways, everybody have a great rest of your week. And Connor, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye.